Since the day you've learned drums, drum teachers have been recommending you what I like to call the monkey style to practicing. This is where you spend hours practicing and grinding away, but get little to no result, and your drumming doesn't seem to get better at all. At the other hand, you have school or work, and quite frankly, you don't want to spend this much time just on the drums practicing. Yeah, sure, sometimes it can be fun, but you don't want to spend this much time. Now I'll introduce you to the modern style of practicing. This is where you only need 15 minutes to practice and still get the same results as the 1 hour practice session. This way you won't have to listen to some random ass drum teacher on YouTube telling you to just practice, guys. Yeah, it's very important for the 500,000th time. And with this method, think of how proud your parents will be after they see their son or daughter finally picking up this productive and enjoyable hobby again and being so consistent in it that it makes your parents' eyes tear. Think of your friends being impressed by your cool chops and fills that you only spent 30 minutes working on. Think of your drum teacher being impressed by your playing and saying that you're way ahead of all students. And not only will this full guide make you achieve those goals, you can also apply these tips to real life and actually get results from it too. So it's not just about your drumming as well. And I have been practicing like this for 1.5 months for an average of 20 minutes or so per day, somewhat consistently over the month. Here are the results. This is my drumming before. And this is my drumming after. Step 0. Find out what you need to do. In school, I'd think about drums constantly. While the teacher was just teaching us algebra or something, my mind would just kind of wander off while she was talking. I would think about what song to play to in my practice sessions or something. And I'd wait for the class to end so that I could finally go back home and practice some drums. And when I got home, I wanted to practice so badly, but I didn't even know what to practice in the first place. I searched it on YouTube, but I couldn't find what to practice anyway. So I just play along to songs or play random things on the drums. As an immediate actionable step that you can take right now, record your drumming and see your mistakes. And by the way, if you want this full guide to truly help you, then you must apply these actionable steps or it will just be a waste of time. So if you could just record your drumming once, then it would literally be fantastic. You just instantly find what to practice by recording yourself, because when you record yourself, you're gonna see some mistakes, right? And you're gonna see oh, my left hand is kind of weak there. Oh, I didn't play that fill correctly. And boom, you just found what to practice just by looking at yourself once. Step 1. Cutting out the bullshit. I'm reading the last sentence of a chapter in this book called The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, and something catches my eye. He was mentioning something very interesting in this book. I read a little bit more to find out what that was, and I find information that not only helped my drumming, but actually helped my real life. So what was this book mentioning about? It was something called the 80-20 rule. This rule is very simple, and you just have to use your 4 brain cells, your monkey little brain cells, to understand this, okay? The 80-20 rule is what 80% of the outcome, your reward, comes from 20% of the input or the effort that you put in. Fucking fly, get the fuck off. So if we apply this to our drumming, it will be what 80% of my progress in drumming comes from 20% of the things I practice. In other words, what are the most important things that you practice in your practice sessions? As an actionable step right now, I want you to ask yourself this. If you had only 1 hour a day to practice, what would you practice? Okay, now, if you had only 30 minutes to practice, what would you you do then? Now, if you only had 1 hour a week to practice, what would you practice then? And if you only had 1 hour a week to practice, would you really be checking your phone on your practice sessions? Oh, look, there's a notification there. Or would you be just focused and productive in a little 10-minute practice session? By the way, I'm not just making this out of my ass. A whole lot of successful people use the 80-20 rule, and I think that if you understand this rule, then you're gonna realize that 80% of the things you practice really don't matter at all. And even 80% of the things you do in your life doesn't matter at all. Anyway, existential crisis with first song. Okay, now back to the video. Step 2. Making your practice sessions tremendously effective. I look on my computer to see that I've practiced for 40 minutes. That's awesome. So I close my recording app and I head to my room and I look back at my recording and I see myself just repeating the same thing over and over again. And then I check my phone sometimes, go on to my computer, and then I mindlessly practice for a bit. Okay, so now that you have the bare essentials, which are already very effective by themselves, how do we make them more effective so that we don't lose progress? As an immediate actionable step that you can take right now, simply just ask yourself, what gets me the most bang for my buck when I practice X? For example, what gets me the most bang for my buck when I practice my rudiments? I'd say it's my double strokes, my single strokes, and then just learning more rudiments in general. So you get more for what you put in by, say, practicing double strokes. Why? 90% of rudiments just consist of a double stroke. So that means that if I master my double strokes, then I partially mastered like 90% of rudiments.
Explosion.
Step 2.5. When to practice these. So a while ago, I discovered a diagram from this book called Essentialism, and I absolutely fucking love this diagram. It's even my wallpaper now. In fact, you know what? I'ma show you. This is the diagram. Oh shit, can you see it? There you go. So this diagram is the diagram of your energy. On the left here, you got someone who spends their energy on lots of things, and there's like 12 things there. I counted them. Yes, I do have a life indeed. And then on the right here, as you can see, there's just one arrow, which means that this person is spending their energy on one thing. And so this person on the right makes 12 times more progress than the person on the left. Why? Because, well, if you add up all the arrows on the left, it's 12, right? So that means if you only do one with the same effort, then you get 12 times the progress. So this diagram is essentially showing us that less is better. So how can we apply this to our drumming? Well, instead of trying to do like 6 things in your practice session, focus on 1 or 2 things that are really crucial. And you can do this by distributing what you should do throughout the week, combining everything that we've learned before this section. Here's my schedule for drums. Basically, what I do is each day I practice for like 15 to 20 minutes, and every single day I do something very crucial. Instead of focusing on 6 things in one singular practice session, I now have 6 things throughout my week, or 5 things throughout my week, which means that essentially I'm getting all my energy and putting it into one singular thing, which makes it more effective. And with this kind of schedule, I literally got 1.5 hours per week maximum. So as an actionable step right now, get out a notes app, a piece of paper, Microsoft Paint, something to write with, and make your own schedule. Honestly, like for me to make this Monday to Friday schedule, it only took me, I don't know, 3 minutes or something, and boom, you have this amazing practice session that only lasts for like 1.5 hours a week, and it's so freaking awesome. And you can adjust it when you try the practice routine, see what works, see what doesn't work, and that is fucking mind-blowing. Part 3. How to practice drums properly. I'm sitting on my drum chair and I'm opening up my electronic drum set that I had at the time, and I feel really great about myself because I knew what to practice, because my drum teacher gave me things to practice and I thought my progress was getting much better, which it was. But there was one slight little problem. I didn't know how to practice it, and I never actually considered researching how to practice things on drums. We're always searching for what to practice, but we never really look at how to practice. And then as I start practicing this groove mindlessly, a notification pops up on my phone by YouTube. Let me just go check it a little bit. And then I watch this video and it takes 10 minutes of my time that I could have been practicing. But okay, let's just practice something else. Okay. And I start practicing that thing. And then there are all these negative thoughts in my head. Like, oh, my timing's so bad. What will my drum teacher think of this? This is so boring. I'm so bored. Then I'm also trying to practice playing along to songs. And I get my phone and I start searching on YouTube some songs to practice on, and I spend literally 10 fucking minutes trying to find a song to practice to, and before I know it, I've wasted like 20 minutes of my 30-minute practice session. So as an immediate actionable step that you can take right now, ask yourself, how many times do I actually check my phone while practicing? How many times did I think about how I messed up that fill and how I was out of time in my practice sessions and my mind was just elsewhere while my hands were doing the thing? And your success in life, in drumming, in sports, boxing, whatever, comes down to if you can just focus or not. So as an actionable step, whenever you notice your mind kind of wandering away from drums, or you're just gonna check your phone or something because there's an important notification, come back to focusing on playing that thing. And also don't bullshit yourself right now and say like, oh, I'll do this later, whatever, gotta eat food right now. Whenever you're practicing, do this actionable step. And I promise that your older self will thank you for this advice. If you're a beginner right now and you apply this, bro, you're gonna be ahead of 99.999% of beginner drummers, no doubt. Step 4, making your practice sessions consistent. I'm finally in a 2-day streak of drums. I feel so proud of myself. But on the 3rd day, I come back home from school and oh no. I have homework to do. And I got boxing in an hour. Let's not practice today, says my mind. And in defeat, I lie down on my bed and scroll on YouTube, and I'm back at day 0 again. I scroll on YouTube and I'm watching drumming videos, get motivated, practice, and then the next day I would just fall back again and I wouldn't practice. As an immediate actionable step that you can take right now is get a piece of paper, don't bullshit me. I want you to write down the exact steps it takes in order to get from your current position to your drum set. Specifically write down the steps, like get up from chair, walk to the drum set or something. Just write down the exact steps, and then I want you to kind of think about doing that action. So like think about going to your drum set from your position right now. So if you're lying in bed right now, I will not feel good today, but I will get up from my bed anyway, and then I'll walk to my drum set and sit on my chair and stuff. Write down those steps and think about that. That's me, goddamn. And write down your feelings as well, how you will feel before practicing. It will feel really fucking hard, right? But after you practice, how will it feel? It will feel productive. And write that down as well. So what you did right now was something called a procedural memory visualization, and you don't need to know a single about what that means, but this is actually a scientifically proven method to make habits that really stick. And if you do this actionable step only once, you'll instantly be consistent from the moment that you actually do this. Like, I literally tried the day I discovered it. It was like mind-blowing. Like, I practiced drums on that day. Now, I found that being consistent doesn't actually mean to practice every single day. Being consistent means you just practicing regularly. You might actually just miss a few days here and there, and you will miss it. Like, don't just stress out when you miss a day or two, bro. For example, when, I don't know, some neighbors come or you couldn't practice, you'll just say to yourself like, I feel so guilty I couldn't practice. Life is gonna happen, bro, sometimes. Part 5, what's next? If you have actually watched this full guide all the way through and applied these tips, you're probably interested in learning these stuff. So I can give you personalized advice, just like these ones I've mentioned in the video, specifically for you. If you get my free coaching that's in the description, I don't know, maybe you might find something very interesting about your drumming that you never actually knew. One coaching client, literally, like, his kick drum wasn't working properly, and he was like, why is my kick drum not working? And I was like, oh, this part's missing and stuff. So like, anything from this productivity advice to your kick drum being broken because, I don't know, some parts missing, probably your cat ate it or something, everything I can talk with you, bro. And if you watch till here, then you might as well just talk with me, bro.